It's some kind of awesome. And it's a fine selection of cruise ship records from the collection. I really adore these things.
We have a few people. Hi, Doug and Peter.
And Julie.
Mike. And Lisa and Errol. Hello. Julie. Hi.
Did somebody say Captain?
Ahoy. Yes, ahoy. Julie is correct. Ahoy.
Ahoy. Ahoy, ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy.
But definitely.
Yes.
Yes, that's Captain.
Oh my gosh.
That's Quad, not Queeg.
Hello.
He was Queeg. Captain of a different rust bucket.
For tonight, you can be Captain Queeg.
I'd have to have like I think it's what has it got? Cue balls or something. He's always or is it dice? He's like always nervously fiddling with. I believe his men call him Old Yellow Stain. Ooh boy, you know. That is actually, among other things, a famous soundtrack recording. Because
we've already gone south. How long have we been live?
Like 10 seconds.
2 minutes?
10 seconds.
That's already taken a turn.
It was a shipwreck. It wasn't a shipwreck, it was a court-martial. But it's a famous soundtrack recording because it was withdrawn. It's one of the rarest things out there.
Hello, Rusty, and hello, Kathy. I got to catch up.
Yep.
Mars, hello. Andrew,
hello,
hi.
So nice.
Yeah, we are well. Thank you for asking.
Do this. I'm going to do one thing. I really hate to leave already, but it's a little warm in all of this woolly business. Or is this? Oh, yes, it's wool. I thought it. No, this feels like cotton. No, it's wool.
No, it's just.
I'm sitting in wool Schwitz.
It is a hole.
Moths.
It's what happens when you buy your captain's blazer at the thrift store.
Yeah, you know.
Hello, AJ. Good to see you. On the YouTubes, yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hello.
There we are on the tubes. Yes. So nice to see you there. Oh, it disappeared. How about that?
Strawberry or ice cream?
But definitely.
So.
Well, we're trying to stay afloat as best we can. You know how it is.
I should have grabbed a life preserver. Oh well.
Oh well.
It's
I could still, I guess.
Whatever. Maybe later.
Maybe later. If the audience demands it, we will see what we can do.
Demand life preservers. Well, you know, if people had demanded more life preservers, we wouldn't be talking about our topic of the evening.
Of either Titanic or the one that you were reading about today.
Vast.
The one that like really sounds like a cluster that makes the Titanic sound positively prepared. The SS Moral Castle.
Oh my gosh.
Good Lord. You read about that one. Absolutely everything was effed up about that thing. Just
there was
bang.
Nothing went right.
Not one single thing. So like the ship burned and people died. Really just horrific, pointless
well,
stuff.
If they would have turned
so stupid.
If they would have headed for the shore, fewer people would have died.
Yes.
Because they wouldn't have just been heading into a nor'easter while on fire, but
yeah. You've heard the
lifesaver peppermint, yeah.
Heard the term fanning the flames? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really need to like just kind of grab that out of here, lifesaver.
And the captain, we're talking about the Moral Castle, even though it's Titanic anniversary, but the captain died. The ship caught on fire. It was painted with oil paint and tons of varnish, so it was accelerants, and they headed into a nor'easter because the guy who took over as captain had no idea what he was doing, and most of the crew was unpaid people who were on a boat for the first time in their lives. So
because it was the Depression.
SS Minnow, yes, Joe.
It was the Depression, and they were taking whatever job they could for the room and board.
Yes.
No pay. It's astounding. I probably would have done the same at the time just to get a meal in me, but untrained crew, not great. By the way, it reminds me of like other air disasters there. You want to talk Zeppelins? You know, one reason that the Hindenburg like really torched was that the whole coating on the thing to actually reduce heat effects from the sun was coated with powdered aluminum, highly inflammable. So once you start a little fire there, bang.
Yeah.
It's not what caused it. Apparently, like very, very hard banking caused some tears in gas cells. But that's the air. We're talking about the sea, and people who go on the sea know that there are hazards. That's why there's lifeboat drills.
Hi, Jamie and Kat. Hello, good to see you.
I always took that stuff seriously when I was in a building, and you know, it was fire warden, and the guy comes by every 6 months and tells you like where the stairs are. It's like, yeah, so you don't think about it too much if the alarm bells start going off. You just like go to your station, go to your lifeboat, and away you go. Yeah, and we have. I have, as of this year, I've been working lowermanette for 20 years. And
hi, Leslie.
You do the math.
Pirate. I love it.
Do the math, and you understand we've been through what about 4 disasters by now. So you learn to like listen, and you also learn to take matters in your own hand when you need to. So, yeah.
Yeah, no
Disasters
kidding.
are us, paying attention to such things. Disasters happen on the sea because either they're unprepared, or people are ignoring things, or a combination of everything possible. That's the Morro Castle.
Morro Castle was everything went wrong. Normandy, well, they'd rechristened it the Lafayette, but that was no great shakes either.
That was...
When that capsized, when it caught fire, it had the fire system, the fire control system, and the fire control system had been turned off.
Smart
and the
move number
pumps
1.
Had been turned off.
Smart move number 2.
So, yeah.
Smart move
when they
number
wanted
3,
to pump water out of it, that didn't happen.
Smart move number 3 was that there were large
Edmund
amounts...
Fitzgerald Abra. Abra, am I pronouncing your name correctly? I suddenly last night was like, oh my God, I hope I've been saying her name right.
It seems like there's one way to do it, but you know something? Anytime I say that, I could be wrong.
Yes, Edmund Fitzgerald. I was thinking of that one today.
That one, which basically disappeared.
Yeah.
In fantastically bad weather, and there was a lot of mystery about that until people took a careful look and said, no fantastic surprise. It's the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes gets
bad weather. Yeah.
Weather patterns. An internal lake. It's just they call it. You've heard about lake effect snow on cities. It's like there's reasons why it's worse. So.
Yes, Mike. Lower Manhattan, as in 70 miles northeast of. It's 70 miles northeast of what? Asbury Park.
Northwest of there. You're probably talking about where we are now. I'm talking about, I have worked down there for 20 years. I suppose the actual last year of that, I was kind of in this office. But super. That's good to know. Oh, and I like we had a comment about the SS Minnow. I noticed you spelled it with one N. The SS Minnow was actually, in fact, Sherwood Schwartz having a little fun at the head of the FCC. It was Newton Minnow.
Yes, he spelled it.
And he spelled, Minnow was spelled with one N.
Yep.
The SS Minnow was with 2. But that's great. That's really great.
Catch up.
Minnow is the guy who actually announced in a speech in 1961 that television was in general fairly low quality. He was the one who used the term "a vast wasteland." So Sherwood was like, "Hey, I got some news for you, pal."
Did I say New England shipwreck diving thing? I was doing some reading on the Andrea Doria today. Another weird one.
Another fun cluster.
Yep. Another.
There's a story of
power into not them, the ship, the Stockholm, the one that hit them. Let's just power right into that.
Power into that fog,
Yeah.
Always a good idea. Have we learned anything from prior disasters? Oh, I don't know. There's a great story. I don't know if it's a great story. It's a compelling story.
it's an okay story
of somebody who was asleep and on the Doria, and a
sugarcane. Hello.
Fantastic bang, and wakes up on the Stockholm.
Captain and Tennille.
Because it was basically like. Got the bow punctures right through, and she got flung onto the Stockholm. That's slightly disconcerting. Where am I? And then you realize what's going on, and I think that's when you want to kind of like lean down and put a damp cloth on your neck, because good grief, you're about to fall over. So there we go, all big fun.
Speaking of being about to fall over, is it drink time?
I haven't really had a drop all day, so
I haven't had a drop all day.
It's not entirely true. I had a drop, but it wasn't much more than a drop.
I haven't even had a drop.
We are well past happy hour, except for the West Coast, in which case we are still pretty well past happy hour. So if you're watching from Cali, it is time. If you're watching from the East Coast, you're probably saying, guys, seriously?
Yeah, Sugarcane says Captain and Tennille tonight.
Working the look. Working the look.
He does have that look.
Telling you.
And he is the captain.
I am the captain, so that's the one. I got my captain's hat. This is really the Buffett-style captain's hat. It has the scrambled eggs, too, doesn't it? I kind of like that. It's fun. So
I have amassed a small collection of classic nautical themed cocktails this evening. So I'm going to start with the Admiral cocktail.
The Admiral.
And because we're really low on the regular gin, I'm going to use the Dorothy Parker Rose Petal gin.
So there's a little variation already, but fun.
So the Admiral starts with 1.5 ounces of gin. A little bit more.
What's up? Give me more.
And then it calls for
and then the fun part starts.
An ounce. I'm a little afraid this is going to be unbalanced, but you know what? If it's unbalanced, we'll just fix it. An ounce of cherry cordial. I'm going to use the sour cherry cordial, and this is a brand new bottle. This is American Fruits. We use this all the time and talk about it all the time.
Would you like a hand with that, or would you like to do it solo?
You can Absolutely. It's always drink time.
Well, it's always happy hour at the, you know.
Hello, Celine.
You know that old song.
Good to see you.
Let me see if this is easier. If I'm going to curse myself for not bringing my knife over.
Is that the Owen's Yacht album hanging on the wall? Which one? This one? Oh, yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's a really fun record. Because one side of it is like sea shanties, and the other side of it, and there's like classics, like opera singers doing that stuff. And one side of it is this whole little story about your new yacht. And it's this whole family with like mom, dad, daughter, and this total goofball of a son, as I recall. Should pop that on tomorrow. Haven't really cracked that in a while. But it's one of those things that looks pretty unassuming. You think, it's just going to be a collection of 5 or 6 songs, big deal. But it's got that whole like
sea shanties. That's like
whole story.
All the kids are doing sea shanties now.
Whaling
apparently.
songs. Whaling songs.
On TikTok. So 1 ounce of that.
You're pouring. I'm just.
Well, I'll pour.
I'm just opening. I'm just
trying to catch up on comments.
Yeah, please. Here. I tell you pour, I catch.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so 1 ounce. So it was 1.5 ounces of the gin and 1 ounce of cherry cordial. You got Jamie and Kat? Yep. Ping. Okay. Sure. And you got Leslie. Yes. Yeah. All right. And what exactly is it? Talk Like a Pirate Day? I totally forget. Oh, isn't it must be coming up. I don't know.
Is it coming up? It feels like we just went through it. Maybe we did.
It only feels like we just went through it. So, and then it calls for the juice of 1/2 lime. I'm going to use 1/2 ounce because we have really small limes. But
it's definitely an Owen's Yacht on there. And is that the Tahitian model? Because that's a pretty slick looking boat they got. Pretty slick looking dinghy, I got to tell you.
What's the one with all the naked people on the cover?
That is a joke record.
I know, but what is it?
We don't have it out here, do we?
No.
That is... It's one of those records that was it was a cover, and the inside of it was just a cardboard disc, this shape of a record saying, your friend bought you a gag record. There's no record in there. There's like a one that's called Songs for Swinging Lovers, and there's a gal on a swing, and she's pregnant. Get it? High Infidelity Records. And this one was like some kind of fun on your yacht thing. It's some kind of double entendre. I gotta look it up. We got it somewhere. Those were fun gifts that were probably like Spencer gift style things back in the day.
Now see, I think it's
Swansboro. Oh, wow.
Oh, I love those classic boats.
I really do like the look of all that wood on deck and like the clean lines. And I'm really liking that very large martini pitcher they're working on the deck at the command helm there of this yacht. So yeah, but I'm going to make big thumbs to that.
And strain into a cocktail glass. This is going to make a little room. This is the Admiral cocktail.
Carefully.
Yeah.
Pirate Day, September. Thank you, Bill. Much appreciated. I knew somebody would know at the tip of the finger.
Oh, hi, Bill.
And Sugar. Heidi. I think you already said hi to Sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Muskrat love.
It's okay.
we got a request from Muskrat.
Well, maybe we'll do a video of it.
I'm trying to think of what would be totally appropriate. It's a
love will keep us together. Anyway.
Originally written by anybody? Know the artist who did perform it? Didn't have a hit with it.
This one is from the Stork Club.
Stork Club book. So this is a classic type of a classic. Mm-hmm. I believe that was originally published in 1936, somewhere in that range. Well, that's perfectly nice. That's a good little sour. It has grenadine or no, the cherry.
It has the cherry.
I saw you do it. I opened it. That's my problem. I'm slightly distracted. There's just a lot. Mr. Jaws.
Hello,
oh,
Chaz.
Man. I remember Mr. Jaws being hit on the radio. It got a lot of airplay.
Jaws.
A lot of airplay to the point that you never wanted to hear it again. But it was fun. I mean, at that age, it was. I'd never heard of that style of record. And of course, Dickie Goodman had been doing that for over 10 years at that point, because he did the original Flying Saucer record, same type of record with all these little drop-ins. And then the early 70s, there was a great one called Convention 72.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got to look that up, because that's got like all these crazy funk bits, and they're just like having a lot of fun at the expense of politicians on that one. And there's a whole album that appears on that's got also something called War Great, and it's just this nutty stuff. He did pretty well with the parodies there. And I'll always remember
we're talking sea shanties.
His tone of voice, just intoning things right here on the beach, They're very, very get smart. Yeah, well, you know, sea shanties indeed. What was the one? There's a routine on a National Lampoon record where they're talking about what the coming thing, like past all this rock and roll. Rock and roll, it's dead. All those songs, put them in the dumper. What's the next big trend there? Whaling songs. That's what I'm quoting. I think it's Christopher Guest is like the rock and roll dude, and it might be Bill Murray, who he's talking to.
No, did you say Mumbury?
Whaling songs. I'm mumbling because I'm talking quickly, but Mumbleberry.
Oh, Sugar Cane, you still have your 45 copy of Mr. Jaws.
I didn't have one at the time. We didn't buy that, but years later.
Would you give your hand into it for
10 years later, I'm collecting records, and I found a couple of those. So I'm pretty sure we have multiple copies of Mr. Jaws. It would make a great prize. But I have to make sure we have multiple copies, you know?
True.
Yeah. But definitely. The wreck of the happy hour. Well, so far it's a pretty good happy hour, I'm telling you. I've got a great little thing happening there.
I'm sure some wreck will happen at some point.
At some point.
I'm not being pessimistic. I'm being realistic.
Well. Oh, weekly food. Gotcha.
Well, Mike, it's good to see you for a few minutes.
As long as it's not 3 hours. I got you. An interesting thing about that, and people have commented on that whole concept for years, a 3-hour tour. So they're at most like an hour and a half out. What's that, Catalina? I mean...
It depends on how you get there.
How you get there, I suppose. Slow boat from China may take longer. But you're an hour and a half out, and 2 of your passengers have packed like an entire wardrobe and all this booze.
You're not supposed to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of like the Island of Misfit Toys, and they all have their problems. And then there's this doll who's like, what's wrong with her? Not spotted.
Apparently, no. I was reading something about this.
There's an answer to
the
that.
doll on the Island of Misfit Toys, apparently her problems were emotional.
More emotional. I believe that was one of the animators talking about that.
Yeah.
I think it was...
Rankin Bass.
Was it Bill Rankin? Might have had that quote.
It was... Yeah, one of them was saying that her problem... Because people are like, what's wrong with... what's wrong with this doll? Her problems were more emotional. Just, oh my God.
He realized later he had to come up with a backstory.
Oh
He's like, oh, geez, somebody's calling me on that.
What they do with the drunken sailor.
Speaking of your jigs and shanties.
Maybe we need to do...
It's
the done thing now, apparently.
Sea shanties, whaling songs, I'm going to tell you.
Mm.
What is the
Captain's
Blow Ye Terriers, California, all those classic songs aboard ship.
Wow. Look at the Captain's First Mate cocktail that Jamie just dropped.
Let's see here. That's Captain Spice. That's Soku. Peach.
Wow.
Pepsi and a touch of white creme to cook out.
Talk about your favorite little buddy.
Whoa.
Little buddy.
Hello. I bet you get a few orders on that. Sounds like fun. That's a good little thing. And speaking of which, I'm going to try. So I suspect that I ought to get busy.
What do you want to make?
Well, there's another one on there that I was interested in.
Yep.
So perhaps
I put a few down.
Perhaps I'll knock that out.
All right.
Okay.
Let me get back to it.
Getting back to it. Well, we got a couple classics. This is you did the Commodore.
I made the Admiral.
You made the Admiral.
Yes.
So I got to do the Commodore. So I guess that makes me the Commodore. Whistle is slightly off tonight, folks. This is another fun one that you might have heard of, but it's not exactly in circulation. And which book gave us this guy?
That one was from the Mr. Boston.
Mr. Boston.
Your parents' edition.
So the 65 edition, speaking of 65, and that is probably in the other editions too. They don't tend to delete a lot of things. There's been some revision over the years. If you take a look at the contemporary Mr. B, the Mai Tai in there looks a lot more like what you get at Trader Vic's, and the one from the 60s is a little off. It's not that far off, though. It's not weird. Okay, so I need a shaker too.
Catalina would be outside of the minnow circle.
Oh man, too far.
Yeah.
So where the hell were they?
Just on some undiscovered island, really close to the shore. Really close to.
Undiscovered island, closer than Catalina.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no. Where were they supposed to be? Were they supposed to be in Hawaii or?
Because we know that
where were they supposed to have set out from?
We know that the establishing shots, the actual film, right, of the opening sequence, is shot in Newport Beach. So we know that much. So you kind of think, it's got to be SoCal somewhere, right?
It's either Newport Beach or Long Beach.
I thought it was Newport. I could have sworn I saw that. I could be wrong. I could have gotten bum information from the internet.
But
wherever the hell I got it from.
Wrong
Really?
information
Could you
from
possibly?
the internet. I'm shocked.
Never happened. Anyway, too far. Got to the moral. Here we are with the Commodore.
Commodore.
All right, shot of whiskey. That's
Commodore cocktail, which sounds like a name.
Commodore cocktail.
And Admiral cocktail sounds like a name too.
Admiral cocktail does sound like a
Admiral
name.
cocktail and Commodore cocktail. The Adventures of Admiral Cocktail and Commodore cocktail.
So let's grab the old wild turkey here. That's a good place to be for bourbon.
Just doesn't last.
If I see a formula that says a shot of whiskey, I'm probably thinking we're talking bourbon drink. So if you go back far enough, like 1890s, 1880s style drinks, they were probably talking rye, interestingly enough. Bourbon was certainly as hell known, but everybody was drinking rye.
Yep.
And then at some point somebody says, we like bourbon better, it's smoother, blah, blah, blah. Certainly after Prohibition tanks and you get into the 30s, people can make whiskey again. There's a real problem with good whiskey.
You might be right, Doug. Marina Del Rey.
Marina? Oh, okay. I have to look it up. Anybody?
One of those breakwaters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Juice of a half lime.
Okay. I'm going to call that a half ounce. And what did I just do with my shot?
Right there.
Lost it totally. So that's about a half an ounce.
This is Commodore cocktail.
Because your typical lime, like not one of those miniature things and not a key, your typical size lime, that's about an ounce. So when I see juice of half lime, look, you could do that, grab the lime, squeeze it in, who cares how much it was? But sometimes those limes are a little dry, so you want to just, I say measure.
That's true.
Too true. Half lime or quarter lemon, that's interesting. I'm not sure why that would make any kind of a difference. This is a teaspoon.
That is a teaspoon of powdered sugar.
Recipe calls for it. We use it. We dump. And it's sticky. I would normally say don't even bother with that. Use the simple because it will dissolve very quickly.
I'm being true to the recipe.
We're being true to the recipe. And if you're going to do it, don't use the granulated because you'll be stirring and stirring and stirring and it'll be gritty. So.
Who wants a gritty drink?
It's a gritty drink. I mean, I just give this a swirl. It's already dissolving. It's a better idea. And 2 dashes of orange bitters. That's a fine place to be.
Shake, strain.
I've got this sneaking suspicion of exactly what this will taste like.
Thank you for the hearts, whoever's giving us the hearts.
Yeah, please. I can't tell.
Appreciate that.
Can't tell, but I'm really glad. All right. I'm going to check the ingredients again, please.
Okay, that's it.
You said hello to Elizabeth.
I did, yes.
There we go. Shake with ice, strain to a cocktail glass. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool.
So I'm looking at this and saying, it's whiskey, it's sour, it's sweet, it's bitter.
It's a whiskey sour.
It's a whiskey sour.
It's whiskey sour.
You see these in these classic books, and, it's a fancy drink, it's called the Commodore. You look at it, it's like, it's a whiskey sour.
It's a whiskey sour.
We see a lot of drinks in these books that are bourbon or gin
Shake
and
that
vermouth.
Hard. Some of the
yes, I see
sugars
that.
stuck.
Bourbon or gin and vermouth, and maybe or maybe not bitters, and that's about it. And I'm like, it's a martini, or it's a Manhattan.
Oh! I forgot to bring out the tri-remedy.
I get it. Shake hard with ice. Gotta dissolve that sugar. Ka-ching. 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 I'm going backwards, but it's for your benefit. All right, that's everything dissolved. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Yep.
Whatever.
So
we get all the weirdos.
we get the lot of them, don't we?
Not you. We're not talking about you.
And spray into a cocktail glass. There's no garnish here.
Except for the weirdo. We're talking about you.
That's pretty full too.
Yep. Well, these are the small glasses.
The small size glass looks more impressive when you pour this business into it. Ein Prosit to you.
Cheers, Commodore.
As we like to. Cheers, Commodore. Cheers, Admiral. Well, guess what?
It's a whiskey sour. Iceberg ahead!
Whiskey sour. Hard left.
It's a whiskey sour.
It's whiskey sour. It actually tastes remarkably.
Fortunately, I like a whiskey sour.
Like that bartender's friend mix, which is what my mother used to use for whiskey sours. Although there's definite, very sharp sort of citric acid taste to those. Still, I find them a little nostalgic, and occasionally I feel like one. But generally speaking, fresh juice.
Ahoy, John.
Ahoy, ahoy. piping aboard.
Oh yeah, we should have been piping people aboard.
But definitely. So if Joe is actually joining us, I've got a whiskey sour for you. I got your whiskey sour right here. I believe that was your parents' drink.
Errol says you inspired him to break out his Navy electronics books last week.
Oh, that's fantastic. I haven't actually hit the books myself in a while, but I have been working on a project which will be complete. And it's not that television set out there yet. A lot of people heard me say, I'm definitely getting to that. Well, I'll do my best. A lot of projects. A lot going on everything. And if any of you are involved in house financing right now, I will say no more. You know what we're talking about. It's big fun.
Hello, Cassius Dirt. Thank you.
Some kind of hell business. Yes. Oh, this is a fun one. I believe this is a VL original.
Yes. With
some fabric from probably Joanne. But that's fun. I love stuff like this, and it suits the figure very nicely. That's what I got to say.
Pshaw.
Oh, you kid.
Oh, you kid. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. We're not moving.
No.
Just to quell any rumors, we're not moving.
Staying right here. We're just
refinancing.
Improving. That's all.
Anyway.
Oh, we're all both people. That's a classic. Name the band. Name the actual name of the song. Boom.
Jeff says, do you have your 497.5 feet of rope?
To hang myself with? Oh, brother.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And since this is, we're talking yachting, that would be 497.5 feet of line. Of course. That's what you use to, tie a bowline onto the yardarm.
Anchors away. Yes.
I can still tie a bowline. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely. Scout knots.
That's the bunny goes up the hole, around the tree, and down the hole.
Back down the hole.
Yeah.
Rabbit hole. Yep. You turn up. There's that thing where you put the rope over it and do the twist. I'm sure there are people out there who are like, I could never tie that because they don't get the twist. And so we heard about somebody once who was unable to learn the yacht club fold. Is it the yacht club fold or?
Well, I don't think that's its. I don't think that's its original name, but we call it the yacht club fold. The napkin fold.
Do you know how that goes?
Or 82 fathoms.
Allow me to demonstrate, because that's a fun thing. Here, that's how to do it.
We threatened to do a napkin folding video. We should do it. I gotta find my napkin folding book. I have an entire booklet that's dedicated to napkin folding, which is hilarious, but...
Fun stuff.
Oh, so man, you should have pressed it.
I know. It's going to look like whatever. But I thought about it. I'm not going to take the time to do it now. Oh, yeah. Anybody else? We're all boat people?
I just remember this. We're all boat people. We're all boat.
Square napkin. This is a little off-kilter. It's not exactly rectangular, but it's been a little stretched out from like years' worth of use. So here you go. Kind of like a neckerchief.
Should have pressed it.
Take this. I know, but I didn't. I thought about this last minute. I'm not going to take the time to do it now.
I'm just giving you grief.
I know. So, like a neckerchief. Fold it in half diagonally, let it hang. Now, step 2, point away from you. Step 3, 2 corners, go to the point away from you. Okay? Step 4, you can watch this later if you really want to learn the yacht club fold, because if you looked that up, you'd never find it on the internet. Okay, ready? Important step. Grab on, hold tight, flip the whole thing over. Next, fold in half this way. So, come on, stay together. So your points go together. Take the whole thing, finger underneath here, boop. And that's your yacht club fold. It looks a little sad because it's not a starched napkin, but if you have a crisp bit of linen, it's pretty impressive on the plate. And then if you go to all that trouble for all of your guests, and they go, oh, time to eat. Boom, and there goes your fold.
Errol laughs about the knots. People think he's good at tying them because he was in the Navy. So the knots he tied it in his shoes.
He probably tied some
probably
tied a few electricians' knots. In a recent episode,
oh my gosh.
I showed how to make an underwriter's knot, which is a very important thing to have.
Doug says, I scored a vintage solid state Lafayette amp at the dump this week. It did a quick refresh without any casualties.
Hello.
Wow.
Amp or receiver, and what's the model number?
What's the model number?
Well, I'd like to know. I'm not going to get into electronics again, folks. That was fun last week, but that deserves its own separate episode. Perhaps Uncle Sid's workbench or something like that. That could be fun.
Uncle Sid's workbench. Jeez.
Anyway, so the Boat People song, I can tell you all, was a band called, now I'm forgetting the name.
I remember it being on the radio.
Really?
Long before I ever met you.
Art. The name of the band is Art. They usually entitle themselves Art, the only band in the world. And it's on a record called The Only Record in the World.
Sorry, they have self-esteem issues.
Yeah, seriously. It's on a record called The Only Record in the World, and I think the label is The Only Label in the World. There are real issues going on there. And side A is something called Ugly People with Fancy Hairdos. That's the Boat People song. Side B is like twice as long because it has 2 songs, 1 per groove. You have to listen in mono to 2 different songs. You get something like 12 minutes worth of material on that side. It's pretty huge. So you get a lot of record out of it. They're fairly obnoxious, but the single is great. It's really good.
I mean, K-Rock would play
great.
That occasionally.
That's interesting.
Not like in heavy rotation, but I did hear it.
I just remember the whole thing about, you just made like, you're just sitting there like leaning up against a lamppost in your leather jacket, like looking like Lou Reed. Real cool. You know?
Yeah.
This whole business about how you never could really make it. You're trying to make it with the light, with that whole Sid Vicious thing with the light bulb, but you failed at that too. And you think the Boat People are desperate? Anyway. Boat People, obnoxious. I digress. Having a little fun here. This is a whiskey sour.
Digression is what we do.
It's what we do. We're still talking wrecks. If you have a few of these, you'll get wrecked. But you'd have to have more than a few. It's just a nicely balanced
The wreck
sour.
of the SS Happy Hour.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's what it is. We have a playlist up there.
We do. I dropped the playlist.
You did?
On all the platforms.
On all the flats. Yeah. Got on all your socials. Excellent.
YouTube, Facebook, and Patreon.
The Patreon.
Yes.
Very good. Speaking of Patreon,
I like that playlist.
we have a number of patrons.
We have a number of patrons here this evening.
We're very
Guys rock.
grateful
We love you.
for your support because it definitely helps this little shindig keep going. Certainly, when we need to resupply what goes into the bottles over there, if anybody is saying, what's that? You mean I could actually support the show financially? I would definitely appreciate the concept. There is a little app called Patreon.
I'll drop the link.
The link. What's the site?
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
But you can support us
We love
for
you no matter what.
an amount per month, and the level will start at $5. If that sounds good to you, check it out. There's prizes and stuff. Big fun.
No. Oh, thank you, Opera.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
I'm glad you like it.
Good to know.
I love a shipwreck song. Although they're not all shipwreck songs.
Not all
They're
shipwreck
just
songs.
Nautical.
Well, there's always the wreck itself, which is just a classic bit of hanging around on a rainy day when the power's out and listening to the radio and going, oh, a disaster, that kind of thing. Yeah. And speaking of which,
I probably shouldn't enjoy I don't enjoy a maritime disaster. That's wrong. But I am fascinated.
Fascinated by a maritime disaster. When you look at the number of them that have such preventable elements, like if you had thought about this at all, 1,000 more people would have lived, that kind of stuff. And you go, wow, these people were either off your game or stupid. And in the case of Morrow, I think it's a fantastic amount of the latter. A lot of neglect. Case of Titanic, it was like some fantastic short-sightedness. Case of the Andrea Doria, bad weather and people ignoring conditions. Just the list goes on and on.
Bad weather tends to sink ships.
Sink ships.
But we
Lusitania actually got hit by a torpedo. Boom, U-boats.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like the playlist. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. Today is the anniversary of when the Titanic hit the iceberg. And the wee hours of tomorrow morning are when it actually sank.
Slipped beneath the waves. It did take some hours because it was a large vessel. But being made out of largely of iron, it of course once it took on water was out of there. And the classic book is A Night to Remember. I have read it. It's pretty compelling. And then there's the sequel to that book, which was published I think 25 years after, might have been 30 years after that, called The Night Lives On. And Walter Lord actually interviewed a lot of people who were still living circa mid-50s and wrote a book about the account. And he's pretty on target. He just talks about things in a very reportorial style. It like I said, it's compelling.
Oh, Mara shared another one. Okay, I look forward to checking these out.
Well, we're just gonna take a little fun there.
We're pretty unsensitive. I mean,
I was listening to some fairly shanty-esque stuff recently when I was installing that lamp that we made on our episode. If if you missed that, go there and check it. You can learn how to make your own fab swag, and that would actually look really great in your tiki room or perhaps on your vessel. I think that'd be fun. And I was playing and decided to play some Kingston Trio. They have a very shanty-esque sound. They perform more than one of such item themselves.
I have another one. Oh, I need the driver Muth though.
If that's your next deal, come right up.
It is. Beyond that, I only wrote down 4, so beyond that, we'll have to freelance. But my next one will be the Deep Sea cocktail. These are all classics so far. But, and this one is a martini variation. We were talking, thank you, earlier about how that was just not even variation, that's just a whiskey sour.
This is a whiskey sour.
This is, as Paul said, so it's like a bad martini. I'm like, well, yeah, kind of.
Do we happen to have these books behind us? Because I wanted to look up.
Oh, they're out in the tiki.
Be right back. Mix, please.
But I need a shaker.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. I can... I don't want to bend over. I'm worried about my back. So I'll let him get me a shaker.
I will take care of it. But absolutely.
On fire in the bottom of the sea when it sets sail. Oh my gosh. Oh, the Titanic. Oh, Andrew's obsessed like me.
Hey.
I'm gonna order some coal from... Our friend gave us some coal from the wreckage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was huge amounts of it because it was a coal-fired ship and had huge, enormous boilers. So they had a bunch of the people who perished there were in the bowels of the ship, the stokers. So unfortunately,
yeah. Craziness. So many of these shipwrecks, you read about them and you're like, what? Yeah. Like every single thing that could have gone wrong.
I would not be surprised at all if there was some kind of fire going on in the coal bin.
Yeah.
Like the hole with the coal, because coal has a tendency to spontaneously combust under enclosed conditions. The
Costa Concordia, yeah. His not wife lady, yes, yeah. I was fascinated by that one.
That was off of Italy, I believe, that beached. That was a pretty compelling set of pictures on that one.
I've never seen The Curse of Oak Island.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see.
Andrew, I gotta see that.
I'd like to check that out. I remember reading about that as a kid, and it was fascinating. And then there's a really good article in the Straight Dope, if anybody remembers that column. This is probably going back 30 years by now that they tackled Oak Island, and goes into detail about this whole thing. Speaking of fiascos.
So this is the Deep Sea cocktail. I started with 1 ounce of gin.
Pretty good place
to start. And here's where you're going to understand why Paul said, so it's a bad martini. It also calls for 1 ounce of dry vermouth.
Whereas this was a good whiskey sour.
And it calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of, thank you,
please.
A 1/4 teaspoon of, as they said, absinthe substitute. I'm going to use Pernod.
At the time that this was originally devised, absinthe had been made illegal. So we got to assume this is post-teens, probably into the 20s or something. This maybe is like something from Paris or something like that.
I may be handing this off to Paul.
We'll give it a try.
But we'll see.
All of these are
worth
a taste test. And I will tell you, we will always tell you when we try something blind and we think this is a little suspect, and when we taste it and our fears are completely justified.
And a dash of orange bitters.
So we are not going to lead you wrong. We're not going to say, oh no, that's great, try it, when it was actually pretty terrible.
Oh yeah, Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, Betty, you're correct.
There we go.
Oh, Marty, Poseidon Adventure, yes. Hi, Marty, by the way.
Yes,
and hello, Jennifer.
Hey, Dora.
Yay, I'm glad to see you guys.
Glad to see you all joining in on the melee. We're still talking about the big boats that happen to hit a reef, and down they go.
Costa Concordia, the only cruise ship that served all their cocktails on the rocks.
Where is it?
There.
There we go.
We're so slow with that.
Sorry.
Yes, Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Tell you. It's a terrific one. Among the best from good old Gord there.
Good old Gord.
Good old Gord.
Paul calls him Gord, I guess.
Well, his greatest hit was Gord's Gold. So there you go. Clearly he's Gord.
I guess he's giving you permission to call him Gord.
Although I'm very fond of Trophy Highway and Sundown. That's the kind of song that you see. If you see those guys do that live, they could probably jam on that for about half an hour and you'd be happy. Those are good chord changes.
Ah. Yes, we did have a Poseidon Adventure happy hour. We might have to bring one of those drinks back tonight.
Poseidon. And boom, 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 boom.
Okay, shake with ice and strain it to
Technicolor. You're right. The color's kind of hot tonight. Sorry, I'm wondering over.
Yeah, no, I did.
Shake with ice, strain to a cocktail glass. Would you like?
I did.
This size of cocktail glass.
Yeah.
I could probably make that a little less dusty. I need to actually dust back here.
I did make the color a little different this evening because. Thank you.
Yep.
I was turning into a ghost otherwise. We have the lights on like 30%, and I was still like
really lowered the lights for
white.
this broadcast with the new camera, which is now a year old for us.
All right, deep sea cocktail.
Nothing like the present.
Looks martini-esque.
Yep, martinesque.
It's okay.
It's okay. I'm looking at that saying 1-to-1 martini.
I don't love
is way off.
I don't love absinthe
that anybody would use these days.
But it's okay.
Even the original.
If you
martini,
like absinthe, you'll probably love it.
Well, yeah, man. Definitely smells like it. The original martini formulas were something like 2-to-1, which is still way too high. And I think they were intended to use sweet vermouth. And you think, wow, that's way off. But there's always a possibility of a perfect martini, which has the dry and the sweet, is what that is. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't like that. You wouldn't like that. I say definitely go dry. And keep it not quite so dry. I'm like a 4-to-1 martini man. I think you're probably more like a 6 or 7-to-1.
Yep. I'm a 6 or 7-to-1 martini man.
Yes. Yeah, that's what you are.
If you want that, maybe I'll just make a martini for me.
It's not bad. That's about as far as I'm going to go with that. It's not particularly good.
It's all right.
So be forewarned if you want to make it. What is this one called again?
That's the deep sea cocktail.
The deep sea. I don't know what the hell makes this deep sea. Somebody was having a little bit of fun. Maybe they thought, easy to whip up on your yacht. You know, give that a try. The gin is definitely helping it. We have a really high quality gin in there. The aromatics are coming through. It's nice. The anise flavor is not overpowering it.
It's a 1/4 teaspoon.
It's a dominant flavor, but it's not just completely motoring over everything. You use a little too much of that, and it's like everything tastes like a good and plenty. So that you do have to be aware.
It is sort of good and plenty-esque.
But it does have that kind of character to it. Although it's fairly balanced. Still, I think more gin, less vermouth. And at the end of the day, you've got a martini to which you've added some anise flavor.
Can you still get absinthe that's made with wormwood? I know you can get absinthe now.
Here's the thing. What you can get is you can, again, get absinthe with the appropriate material.
Actual absinthe. Yeah.
That was considered to be the demon ingredient in the stuff back in the day. Oh, this is problematic. It's making people go insane, and that has been completely disproven subsequently. And there were several jurisdictions which actually discovered that it had never been banned, like the UK. So sometime I think in the early O's, going back 20 years, it became it became a popular drink. And the problem is that kids in clubs, kids in their early 20s in these clubs, were actually doing shots of absinthe, like they would do a shot of whiskey. Oh. First of all, that's a heavy liquor shit.
No.
And second of all, look, a shot of whiskey, here and there, 80 proof. You can do a shot of it and be like, okay, a couple shots, and you're on the way to the floor. Not a good idea. But a shot of absinthe is more like 114 proof. So every shot is like a lot more than you were expecting. Kids were just ending up on gurneys.
I mean, if you like it, you can sip it, but
absinthe
shooting it, it's like don't do that.
Not a good idea. No, there's not even a good use of this stuff. The classic absinthe drinks are the drip, where you actually take the specialty spoon, put it over your glass. There's a specialty glass, your chunk of sugar, and then you take like your ice water and you pour it very slowly to dissolve the sugar in. So you're sweetening it up, and you're also diluting it down to a normal sort of a proof. The thing probably ends up being like 60 proof or something, and you can sip that, and it gets all cloudy. I've tried it. It's okay. Not a big fan. But then you add the absinthe with like some sweet and lemon. That's a good application. In many ways, that's basically just a Dr. Funk tropical cocktail. But the absinthe lemonade, I think, is what is normally done. It's not bad.
See, I'm okay with absinthe lemonade for some reason. I really don't like absinthe, but in lemonade.
I don't think we have any genuine absinthe, although we do have Pernod, which is a substitute. We have a really antique bottle of Pernod that my father got a long time ago, so that stays in the family. And that still has some oomph.
It stays in the family.
That surprisingly has some oomph.
It's a family heirloom.
It's like Pernod 45, which is something that's been off the market forever. And we also have 2 bottles of Absinthe, the brand, which was making an absinthe type liquor without the magic ingredient. I've heard of people buying the magic ingredient and putting it in, blah, blah, blah. These days, you find a lot of manufacturers of it. It used to be you could find it imported from places, and it didn't look good, and I bet it wasn't. We were able to find a brand in Mexico years ago that looked really suspect.
Oh, Marty, I'll look for it.
Glad
Marty says there's a great documentary on Amazon called Absinthe. Okay, yes. I got Amazon.
We can check that sort of thing out. We happen to like a liquor documentary.
Yeah, we do. I was just thinking today that I kind of miss. We don't have cable anymore. I kind of miss those documentaries, like
that kind of stuff.
Like the shipwreck documentaries. I love those.
History Channel, that kind of stuff. It's not called Hitler Channel for nothing, but the fact is they also do things about food and drink, and there's that one history.
Well, they did. I don't think they do that much anymore.
They might? Okay.
I've heard they don't.
We actually own American Eats, that's going back.
I love that.
Easily 25 years, and it's really terrific. American Drinks is a good one. And then, of course, I think it was PBS Prohibition, which was Ken Burns. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Typical Burns style, he spends half the episode talking about how it started, and then the rest talking about the party. Well done. I think Ed Asner narrates that, and it's got a great soundtrack. So that's recommended.
I want to make something else.
Please, why don't you make something else? And during Prohibition, you couldn't drink legally in the States, so people didn't. No, seriously.
That's hilarious.
Seriously, they didn't have a drop.
Oh, St. George's absinthe is nice. Okay, Elizabeth, that sounds... We love St. George.
Take the recommendation. Yeah. They're doing a good product. So what a lot of people did was say, well, you can't drink it on the ground, but suppose you get on a ship and go outside the limits. Yep. So booze ships were popular.
When the Morro Castle started, it was still Prohibition. So
yeah. So they were doing the Run to Havana where you could get a drink. That was popular because it was very close.
I saw Morro Castle referred to as the first booze cruise.
like certain other booze cruises, it didn't turn out well. But really, that's the classic. I'm not sure you could top the amount of F up that was in Morro Castle. It's so bad. You can find the information online easily, and it's just appalling.
Well, when the captain dies, and that's not the worst thing that happened.
And that's not the worst thing that happened.
That's pretty bad.
What was the shipwreck early 20th century in Manhattan?
Oh, the General Slocum?
Slocum.
Yeah.
Which was a
that's
party.
Just sad.
Yeah, it's just so sad. So sad. It was an excursion boat, and it had some of the same problems like lifeboats and life jackets that were sort of glued in place with paint and no drills, and people couldn't swim. Just bad. I think that the captain tried to beach the boat and made the thing worse. And it was an excursion boat with a lot of young children. It just goes on. It's so like, sad. Oh man, you just what else did you do? Did you kill the dogs too? I mean, what else could you possibly do? So bad. So anyway, we're still enjoying. Well, I don't know if I'm enjoying. I'm
coping with
continuing to sample this little item here to see if it gets any better.
All right, so I am going to do a variation on the Admiral that I did for my first round, but I'm going to use bourbon instead of gin.
Well, I think that's going to be awfully Manhattan-esque,
so
if you ask me.
We'll call it the Rear Admiral.
The Rear Admiral. Now you're talking. The Rear Admiral. We could do it with rye and be the Vice Admiral. We could. What else could you do with admirals? I may be out of it. We could do it and serve it in a little glass with a television on it, and it would be
the Admiral TV.
The Admiral TV.
There the Admiral TV.
TV. Yeah. Funny. I I'm on
Wasn't
fire
that funny?
tonight. No, I don't know.
It wasn't that funny. All right.
It was
I
terrible.
need another shaker.
I said it, and it was terrible.
All right.
Shaker, come right up.
Okay, thank you.
Oi. Why, it's a shaker.
So,
Get you a real one of these.
oh, I was saying, I just read that during Prohibition, Jamaican ginger was an alcohol concoction masquerading as medicine. So people, yes, they did that.
There were a lot of those
They
things.
did that.
There were all of those patent medicines that had actually managed to survive Pure Food and Drug Act
They
by
did that.
just putting their ingredients on the label.
Oh, Prohibition was great, wasn't it, Lisa?
Yeah, it's really good.
It was awesome.
A lot of them are still around, and like all of the little old ladies who are like all the, WTC ladies there.
WCTU.
CTU were some of them themselves were taking of these potions, and they were just infused booze. That's what they were. So you take a good shot of that and feel warm and be like, oh, I'm glad I don't drink. And then there was the one that was
Thank heavens I don't drink. Glug, glug, glug.
adulterated with plasticizers and gave people what they called the Jake leg.
Oh man.
There's more than a half a dozen of blues songs called the Jake Leg Blues. You drink this stuff and you lose control of your legs. It's just what the hell. But who the hell was
permanently, not
who was putting plastic in the booze?
Not like just for temporarily.
I know this show rambles and we get onto weird subjects, but we're talking booze.
Jake
We're talking really adulterated stuff. We're talking people drinking all kinds of crap because they can't get a legal drink. You know what? Make beer. We found that out at the National Museum of American History.
Oh my
several years ago now.
Bill says eating history found an intact cone top beer can.
Oh my!
Wow.
Don't open that.
Wow.
As we know.
That's like the people who was it the Cubs?
I think it was the Cubs.
They had a beer and they were going to open it like when they won a championship, and so this beer was like 40 years old.
They had a light beer. I think it was literally a light beer from Miller. I'm actually naming brands here, but I think that's what it was. And they put the thing on the shelf in like 1982. So at the time that the win happened, you do the math, and the guy cracks it, he tries it, and he's like, this is terrible. I'm like, of course it is.
Yeah.
It's going off.
Yes, it would be. There were a lot of prescriptions after 1929.
I mean, you find a sealed up bottle of Jack Daniels that you socked away and forgot about from 1982. It'll be fine,
I can sneeze.
Yes, there were prescriptions because of the loopholes. Loophole number one is that whiskey was considered medicinal and considered medicine. So if you had an issue and your doctor prescribed it, you could get it legally. Thank you. Two is that there was a hell of a lot of whiskey that was locked up in bonded whiskey. And some wise guy figured out how to release that. So he basically defrauded that and just started moving that whiskey into the population. So that got drained. Third of all was the fact that it was not illegal at all to make your own. I think that was actually
Hi, Fred.
part of the law. Hey!
Oh, you're missing a good description here. Discussion.
And
Admiral Nelson, yes, Rusty.
Oh, yes, there we go.
Whiskey is still medicinal.
Nelson.
Exactly. Well, I'm about to have some medicinal whiskey right now, Fred.
I will tell you this much. Will it cure your cold? Absolutely not. It does not have those properties. Of course not. Neither were those weirdo Chinese herbs that you bought at the apothecary. But they'll just taste bad, and you'll feel like something's going on. However, when I have a bad head cold and I feel miserable, and I put in a glass a large rock, 2 ounces of whiskey, a half ounce of lemon juice, 1 ounce of orange juice, and some bitters, and give it a stir, or just shake and pour into one of these things. That's a bourbon stone sour. And I take that, and I feel better. So clearly, yes. Wow.
So
That's fun.
I'm calling this one the Rear Admiral because I'm taking it off of the Admiral cocktail. This was 1.5 ounces of bourbon, a 1/2 ounce cherry cordial, and a 1/2 ounce fresh lime juice.
This one's all sticky. Ugh. Spillage happens behind me from time to time.
Man.
I tell you. I'm trying to find a good glass. You like this size?
Yeah. That's really dusty.
That's pretty bad. I tell you. Here I am talking about my dusty glass.
Oh, I
I'll
love
be right
that
back.
unwrap. Mom used to give her the whiskey for colds. Yep. It worked then and it works now. They tell you it doesn't because people don't want you to do whiskey, but do whiskey. Do it. Extra sharp ginger brandy for head cold. That sounds good too.
Oh.
I love that.
The ginger stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely beneficial because of the burn. Like when your throat's on fire because of all of that nasty virus action there, and you put something like really hot back there, you'll feel better. You'll feel better. It will not lessen the cold. It'll probably going to go on as long as it is. So just keep having that bourbon stuff and that ginger stuff. We made ginger syrup recently, and I really let it soak for a while, and I extracted a lot of flavor, and it has some burn, and that's the way I like it. And I do like that. I would use that in place of the simple syrup in a whiskey sour.
You'll want to get every
big
drop.
plus. You will.
Okay, now
bourbon and OJ.
Now it's really full. Yes, please.
In the woods behind. Oh, wow.
The Rear Admiral. Hello, Bam.
You know, Bam, I think it's time for you to find those ruins and reconstruct them and start getting busy.
That's right.
The ginger brandy is fun. There's also Stone's ginger wine, English product, which is like a sort of a cordial. It's not very high proof. It's a good ingredient in drinks. Some of that in whiskey would be a pretty good idea, I'd say.
A clove of garlic before. Yeah, I've heard of that.
I love raw ginger.
This computer.
For that purpose too. But I have raw ginger and I have terrible hiccups. It just happens.
Honey, whiskey, and lemon. Yep. It's a whiskey sour.
It's a whiskey sour, but for colds. Bang.
Hi, Bill.
Honey's very
During Prohibition, both my great-grandfathers drank Canadian whiskey to quench the Bay Area thirst. I love that. I love that.
Wow. The Rum Runners. Absolutely.
Hi, Rachel. And hello, Blue Jay Woman.
We're starting to talk distilling and bootlegging, and boy, are the comments coming out
Blue
now.
Jay Woman,
It's
we
hilarious.
know you. Hi.
That's fantastic. Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Chicago grocery.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah. Back when a lot of grocery stores...
sold booze. I love that.
A lot of grocery stores, pharmacies were used to selling booze because that's what they did back in the day. And Prohibition
Rachel,
comes along.
thank you.
They kept doing it.
And hello, Josh. Oh, very Captain. You're the second person that said Captain to Neilish. I think we decided we need to do a cover of Muskrat Love.
That might be the one. I'm very fond of Lonely Nights, Angel Face myself, but there's all sorts of good songs on that first album.
Thank you, Rachel. That's so nice.
And if you look at that album, I think all the backing vocals are basically Toni Tennille. She's backing herself up.
Yep.
It's a very self-produced record. Very clever. Oh, I need to try this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Rear Admiral.
I'm enjoying the Rear Admiral, so to speak. Thank you.
Yes. Said though. True though.
All right. I don't think I've missed anything.
So, I was going to look up something in here and talk about cocktails that are just the same damn thing. Every other thing in here seems to be a martini, except for something here that's called the Trilby, which apparently was named after a 19th century character in a play. And it's a shot of whiskey, 3/4 sweet vermouth, 2 dashes of orange bitters. It's a Manhattan.
Yeah.
Stir well with cracked ice straight into a 3-ounce cocktail glass. It's a Manhattan. You're using different bitters than are normally called for. Big deal. I remember when we first started buying the Fees orange bitters, first orange bitters we actually found in the market. The store where they were being sold, the guy said, "I love these in a Manhattan." And I said, "Okay, you do a lot of other things." And he said, "I just love them in Manhattan."
Rachel's asking for cocktail recommendations. Well, right now I'm enjoying the Rear Admiral, which I just made up, but it's a variation on the Admiral cocktail, which is a classic. The Admiral has 1.5 ounces of gin, a 1/2 ounce 1 ounce cherry cordial. So 1.5 ounces of gin, 1 ounce cherry cordial, 1/2 ounce fresh lime juice.
Shake with ice and strain.
This
very simple thing.
I did.
It's really a gin sour.
1.5 ounces of bourbon, and then I did a 1/2 ounce of the cherry and a 1/2 ounce of the lime. So I would say the Admiral or the Rear Admiral. The Commodore was good too.
The Commodore was not bad at all.
It was a whiskey sour.
Well, it's a whiskey sour. That's why it's not so bad.
Sour.
That's why it's not bad at all.
The deep sea cocktail was
It's over there somewhere. I think I deep sixed it.
Drain cleaner.
Sent it to Davy Jones' locker. Man overboard. I don't know. The puns could go on.
Well, there's also
references.
The foghorn. If you're interested.
That's a Moscow Mule.
Well, it's
But in a Collins
with
glass.
gin.
But with gin. But with gin. It's a Moscow Mule. Seriously. Of course, that just means that the Foghorn may be pretty old. The Moscow Mule may have been ripping this off.
Well, yeah.
Because it's a simple drink. There's not much to it.
Rum running is the same era that people started painting their yachts a topside dark blue.
But definitely. And here's our ginger brandy happening over there.
Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah, Mohawk Extra Sharp.
Extra sharp. Ooh,
Nice.
I like that. Total Wine.
I would buy that.
I like the story too. But definitely, we have Total Wine locally, don't we?
Oh, good, Rachel. You've got all the ingredients. I love it.
Excellent, excellent.
We don't have to. We don't have Total Wine.
We don't?
No.
What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of yeah, the one you're thinking of is like not part of that chain.
Oh my. Okay.
You're thinking of the one in New Jersey.
Yes, I am. And there is a chain in New Jersey.
Yeah, no, it's what do they call that? I forget.
I'll have to look it up. But in the meantime, here I am, cocktail in hand. I guess I better redress that. Actually, what we use for the so Josh, the cherry that she used is right here. This is our local American Fruits Sour Cherry Cordial. We have spoken of this product highly because it is awesome. You've got your sister hooked on this stuff. Loves it.
I've gotten several people hooked
and then our buddy Dano, who actually saw perform in our backyard last summer with his band, The Clams. We recommended this. He picked it up. He liked it so much, he basically bought out the entire supply in Western Connecticut. So if you're living in that area, don't go looking for it. And
probably Western Connecticut too, but
probably all of New York State. I don't know, but no, but seriously, it was still.
But yeah, like a cherry liqueur, you would want to do. But if you can get American Fruits,
excellent product, very fresh
stuff.
fruit flavor, made locally to us,
Good
so that's
stuff,
why we're really glad to. My personal recommendation in all of these is check your local distillery. Are they making cordials, liqueurs? That's a really great thing. And what else are they making? They're making gin and vodka for sure, and they're probably making whiskey. And our experience has been these are all really good. They're all worth trying. Your local distillery, and you have one. We have 10, I think. They're just doing fun things and making really, really good product. So,
out hunting submarines with Hemingway on the Pilar.
On the Pilar. Now I feel like a Hemingway daiquiri, don't I? And that's a fairly nautical kind of thing too.
Do we have doesn't it call for grapefruit juice?
It does.
I don't think we have that.
We don't have it. So, can't do. Next time Hemingway. That was actually, I believe, a Constantine Riolagua.
Could you order? I'm not sure. Right. I'm not sure, but it's American Fruits is the brand, but it's part of Warwick Valley Distillery. They also make the Black Dirt products.
Yep,
so
which is their whiskey. They ran out of.
I bet you could.
Ran out of capacity at the regular distilleries. They had to open up a second location to make the whiskeys.
Oh, Rachel, I'm sure it would work. This is actually like a very unique taste, but I'm sure the Luxardo would work. Just fine.
Sure,
yeah.
Sure. Luxardo is kind of fun. Well, the Luxardo is maraschino, so that has a distinct sort of like an almond and I think a rose note to it. It's a little different. I happen to like the Luxardo in a Singapore Sling.
You can order it if you can have liquor delivered
to your location.
Astor, I just looked. AstorWines.com has it.
We'll do it. They've got it for actually a good
much
price for a
that's the going price.
Price. Yeah, that's fine.
$16
or a case of 12.
It's a 3.75, so it's not a huge bottle, but
it'll last. Use a little.
But yeah, if you go to AstorWines.com and search on American Fruits Sour Cherry Cordial, you can.
Unpopular thing to do with this sort of thing is just to have a nip. Since I don't have anything right now, I think I'll do that.
Get one in on that.
Get on that. Oh, Abra has ordered.
Oh my gosh!
Here we go.
Good. I'm so excited.
Excellent. We placed an order with Astor because it was easier for us, and we got some great product, and some of it's down already.
I need to get on Astor and order more of the
Clinky Drinky.
Dorothy Parker Rose Petal Gin.
That's a really good product. Oh yeah, this is such a nice fresh flavor. Really, really nice. I love it. All right, well, I'll tell you what.
Oh gosh, I have so many links.
Oh, big fun.
So many links. I got to check out these links later, you guys. But
big fun time. Got to stay standing today. We'll finish some of these broadcasts, and I'm just ready to hit the sack. It's a long.
Well, last week we went for 3 hours.
Almost 4, apparently.
Now it was like 3:15.
3:15. Okay, fine.
Josh, if you're in Western New York, you should be able to order because
be good.
we're in New York
Within
too.
New York
We can
State.
order.
Yeah.
In New York, you can order liquor.
It's weird. Where we are, we can get certain things, and we can't get certain things. And we talk to our local stores that are actually very eager
But we can order
to get
whatever.
new product in, and they'll say, "Oh, we can get that," and then they'll carry it, and
Tastes
then they'll say, "We can't get that." It's very strange.
It tastes like the stuff inside of cherry pie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it tastes like.
The nose is like you open a can of cherries, like the pie cherries, and you're like, yeah, it's got like that sweet cherry thing going on.
Oh, good.
All right, that's it. I actually thought that I might do this, and I will do this. How about a classic nautical type cocktail? It's not specifically nautical, but this was a major port, major sort of like shipping destination, and somebody's already name checked the Singapore Sling. Well, that's another gin cocktail. Good thing we got some gin going on.
Go for it.
So I need the appropriate glassware, and that's a built-in glass. Well, let's get started. Woo.
I love a Singapore Sling.
It's a fun thing.
A lot of gin drinks this evening. Gotta say, we don't normally do that. Yes, I can talk.
You don't normally hit the gin that hard. You know what I'm saying?
Which I like gin.
That sounds all kinds of wrong, I know. Let's see. I'm going to polish this glass, too. I think I need to do a better job with the glass.
I was about to say, I like gin, but I don't. But anyway, never mind. It's funnier in my brain than it is in real life.
We don't, reach for it above other things. I know that your favorite is probably still tequila. I've been very fond.
It's just a 3-hour tour.
It's just a 3-hour tour. I've been very fond of the brandy that we've been buying, which is Reynal. It is not a cognac, but it is French, and it's a really nice aged brandy.
It's French.
It's French. I'd say, it's French. They make good stuff. Forget that commercial.
ShamWow.
Oh, the Germans, they make good stuff. But it's a great thing because it's not like it's a $60 bottle of brandy where you'd be like, oh, I don't know if I want to mix with that. That's just like in a snifter kind of stuff. But it's a really nice flavor. It is aged, and it works well.
Peter's saying, since you two mentioned port, then how about some wine?
Port and starboard. There's always the port light.
Suppose we could.
But you don't want that.
Get on that.
Oh, we get on
I
that.
was looking up the port light today and the starboard light. Those, nope.
No dice.
No, thank
No.
you.
Trader Vic cocktails, specialty glassware. We thought we had it, and then we realized that we actually had.
We have the gun club ones.
The shotgun shells. So no port light. And besides, I looked at that and said, not going to happen. That sounds terrible.
Nope.
So, and hey, love me some Vic. Wait, I just want this. I just want this.
We love Trader Vic, but oh, Suffering Bastard. Josh, this is so funny. Your comment got held up by YouTube because you said Suffering Bastard.
You said naughty things. No, the drink's really called the Suffering Bastard. Come on. Nice.
It just reminds me of the time that I posted a video where I was in a pool and I had a bathing suit on. I was completely covered. But then, our video got flagged for nudity.
Seriously.
Brooklyn! Oh my gosh! Hello! Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I love the nice comment. Thank you. Yay! So Paul's making a Singapore Sling.
Yep.
For those of you just joining us.
I actually took this down a while ago. This is the ancient
Peter,
foam.
yes, wine.
In fact, I got 2 different versions of this, but I think I've been doing the second one a lot. And this is on the advice of Jeff Berry, who had published one version, and I think his second book, and then he published a revised version in his last book. But that's probably not his last book anymore. And there's been a lot of research. I think David Wondrich has been trying to figure out what's in the Singapore Sling. It's all futile. You'll never figure it out. But he's gotten very close, tantalizingly, and the results are better than a lot of things calling themselves a Singapore Sling. So we're going to.
All right. Well, let's have it.
Okay, let's have it. Let me have it. And it's actually, this is a simplified kind of thing. So I'm going to start.
We all remember the VLK swimsuit edition.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Va 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 voom.
It's just so funny. If you know me, you know I'm just not posting nudity. Sorry.
Not happening.
It's just not happening.
There is no...
YouTube does have oddball rules, Josh. You are absolutely right.
Oh, please. Please. They have no idea. There is no after hours edition either. Unless we're here and I am me and you are you. That's it. So
the after hours edition would be like both of us falling asleep.
Yeah, on the
People are
couch.
like, oh, I want to come party at your house. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll be
anyway,
like,
whatever.
hey, whatever. You make yourself a drink.
I'm going to go take a nap. You
Oh,
guys keep partying.
I'm done,
All right.
Can't do it anymore.
So what are we doing? Singapore
All right,
Sling.
Singapore Sling. Happen to find a nice little Chinese restaurant glass with a dragon. Kind of perfect. All right, fill that a good solid half to perhaps a little more with the ice. And this is a built-in glass. We're going to start with an ounce of gin. I'd actually take the regular Dorothy Parker. I just want a straight gin on this one. The rose would not be a problem at all.
Time to place another Astor order.
I think we're about to kill it right now. I think we have a shot in this at best, although it might be an ounce.
I placed the Astor
that's a
order
shot.
right before my birthday.
That's a shot. So
because I wanted the Dorothy Parker gin for my birthday, damn it, and I got it.
you got it. And you decided to take a chance on the special version, which
Well, I
is...
saw that when this is the rose petal.
Well, that's rose petals. This is just a New York gin,
Yep.
which is a really high quality product. It's some really nice aromatics in here. It's coming in at 88 proof. Got a little bit of a kick to it. And it's got a picture of Dorothy Parker on it. Jeez, you know that she'd love this.
Well, we would get drinks with it at the Algonquin,
Yeah.
which I believe is currently under like renovations.
Yeah.
So
But they would have... I believe they have the Dorothy Parker cocktail, or is it the Dorothy Parker martini? What are they called?
They were using it in all their drinks.
Big fun.
One of Errol's coworkers was called down to HR. They wanted to know why he was talking about temperature indicating transmitters, commonly referred to with first letters in his emails. Oh, jeez.
We could get into all sorts of fun acronyms out there, and if we're talking military, you have to start with such great terms as FUBAR. You know what that means? But that's not where it ends. That's where it starts. There's also FUB, TAP FUBAR. SNAFU was among that group, and I saw a huge list once. Yeah. I think I wrote them up and actually circulated them to my manager at work, and she thought it was hilarious. So, ounce of cherry brandy. Well, you know what? I'm inspired. I'm going to try the sour cherry cordial. This is typically calls for a hearing, but since nobody knows what was supposed to be in the Singapore Sling, you do you. I normally use the maraschino because I like the flavor notes that adds to a Sling. But I'm going to go with the sour cherry.
Ooh. He's a rebel.
He's a rebel. And if you're saying to yourself, well, actually, I'm outside the zone. I can't order this. My state doesn't allow this. It's unfortunate. Check your liquor store to see if they have some of the Eastern European imports. Like there's Polish like cherry and blackberry liquors that are really good, really nice flavors, and usually a very good price. So an ounce of this stuff. But I think the a Polish cherry brandy would be great.
I just got a really good idea. Mm-hmm. We got to try to make our own.
Excellent idea.
Cordial.
Excellent idea.
And then if we learn how to make it, we can share it with you.
We'll let you know.
So
I did just make.
Try to do this.
Did just make the ginger syrup again. If you want to know what's in that, I'll probably just post that in the super secret site. Who? What? What changed?
Oh, hi, Satellite. Good to see you.
Third, 1 ounce of lime juice goes in there. So far it's an ounce of gin. Use a high quality gin, please.
I don't know what I'm drinking. 2 rums, grapefruit juice, orange and Angostura bitters, bit of Cointreau, ice shake. I'm tired and winged it. You know what?
Hey.
Sometimes you just gotta wing it.
Sometimes you wang it. That's the way it goes. Could you procure for me the Benedictine, please? I really should have gotten this out before.
Hold on.
And for that
wait, it's down here.
It's down there.
Yeah.
While you're at it, the regular Angostura as well. Thank you very much. Don't mean to make you work, but I need this stuff. This is the critical component in any sling, any Singapore sling, is you got to have the Benedictine. That's what gives it flavor.
Angostura.
Highly aromatic infusion. What do you call this? They call this a liquor palus fiscanensis. What?
What?
I guess that's Latin over there. This is made by monks. And it basically is one of these infused herbal items that has got 17 secret herbs and spices, ancient formula. Nobody knows what's in it. 5 different monks know 1/5 of the formula, that kind
of stuff.
Full ounce? Full ounce, believe it or not. The one I've been making for a long time had a 1/2 ounce, and I thought that was perfectly fine. But he swears by this one, so I'll give it a try. Dash of Angostura bitters. So again, the gin, the cherry brandy, the lime juice, the Benedictine. I use cherry cordial. You could use that. The Polish stuff is very good. You could use maraschino. I usually use booze. So I certainly recommend that.
So,
ounce of each, combined in glass.
all you've done so far is the gin, the cherry, the Benedictine, and the bitters.
Also an ounce of lime.
Yep.
Yep. And I will take a straw, and this also
There's a straw
gets...
in that glass back there.
Did I put the bitters in?
Yes.
Yes, I did. I can smell it. There's a straw, and it's right here. And the last thing you want to do is top it with a couple ounces of seltzer. Of course. Caught you. When it's warm, it fizzes. So that's got to be about a couple ounces, and you get a nice tall one. About there is where you want to end, and then give it a stir. You can certainly throw in a Velveteen Lounge Swizzle, although they're not tall enough for this glass, so I'm going to
Now,
choose
you have
that.
to use some other swizzle.
Some other swizzle. A nice tall one, perhaps one of those green Trader Vic's things with the guy on top. Those are fun. And there's your Sling.
I've had a Singapore Sling before. I know that
You know
they're
what it
good,
tastes like.
but I'll try it again.
This is a highly reputable Sling. I recommend it. There's another formula
Well,
out there
good.
which is also very good. I've made that for years, and sometimes I do that because I like that as well.
So are we making this one? Because if we're not, I'm going to delete it.
I'll leave it for the moment. But,
Okay.
But you know, who knows? I'm happy right now, and you know, we've already talked about a lot of great things. A lot of wrecks have happened tonight,
Mine's almost gone though.
and
So.
we're still at sea. What do you know?
I feel like we need a specifically Titanic drink.
One can imagine what would have been served on a classy sailing vessel circa 1912, and that would have been a hell of a lot of highballs. This is what people drank.
Which is just funny because I don't want a highball.
No. You don't want a highball. Nor do you want just 2 fingers over a cube of ice, or just 2 fingers neat, or 2 fingers with a little soda. That would have been popular. Straight whiskey.
Jamie?
I don't think anybody was drinking straight gin, but gin was
Oh my
becoming
gosh.
popular. in
Sadly, I
cocktails.
had a martini at the
Ah,
Cheesecake Factory.
how
Well, I
about
love that.
In fact, well, hello. Hello. So what's in your Singapore Sling? I'm
Hi,
wondering.
Maurice.
Yeah, hey, good to see you.
I love all this. Okay, I'm getting caught up.
And B&B.
Yeah, B&B. Love that as a child.
Does everybody remember that scene in High Anxiety where he's at the restaurant with her and he orders...
We did a drink.
We did a drink. There was
Yeah.
the B&B and the B&B, which is pretty hilarious. I'm still not sure what the third B is, but we did something.
Now I gotta find it.
Got to go check it out. The B&B.
B&B.
Because when the guy brings
Hello,
the
Aaron.
B&B.
B&B and the B&B.
Well, I just made this one of the swizzle, and this is highly reputable and an excellent thing. This is the Jeff Berry revealed formula for a Singapore Sling. I believe that either Ted Hay or David Wondrich had something to do with the research on this one. Both of them are pretty dogged researchers, slightly obsessed. And that's what they do, so I don't have to, so they can figure out what this might have been. The simple fact is, you know the hotel, you know the location, you know the bartender, and nobody knows what was in the damn thing originally. And in fact, they claim that they invented this thing in 1915, and even that is suspect. But,
so the B&B was 1 part brandy, 1 part Benedictine, 1 part blood orange liqueur.
Oh yeah, that was good. And a squeeze of lime does help.
Yeah,
that.
I was about to say, it sounds really sweet, which I know we made it, but yeah.
We will make these things straight up because the formula says so, and then you try it. And we will know when we think it's not going to be balanced. And you know what? We're right 99 times out of 100.
Aaron's asking if we're going to make another run of the swizzle. You know, we talk about this. I think if we do another swizzle, we should do something slightly different. So the first ones are collectible.
Got it. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, totally.
You know?
Yeah, different color scheme, different thing.
Yeah.
Could there be Glendora swizzles? She drinks wine, though. I don't know. Wine cocktails? Mm-hmm.
I love it. For the next shipwreck live stream, you could dress as Thurston and Lovey. You know, we should do. We actually made a send-up of Gilligan's Island for Blobfest, and it actually won the fan favorite award.
It did, in fact.
Blobfest.
We might have had something to do with that winning the fan favorite award.
Well, we got the vote out.
We got the vote out.
Definitely got the vote out. But
I didn't fake it.
But we were Thurston and Lovey, and
No.
Jeff was Thurston.
Yes.
I was Lovey.
You're Lovey.
I was Lovey, and I was Ginger.
Mm-hmm.
But because we didn't have people, Christy was Mary Ann though.
Yes.
But
Guess who got Gilead?
yes, Paul was little buddy, and Matt, R.I.P., was the skipper.
Hats off to people who have had to leave us, and that's a very unfortunate thing. But we're talking about shipwrecks and floating bodies, so it's all part of this game, folks. It's all part of this game.
But I had a great dress for Lovey that I kind of I want to wear for these broadcasts whenever we do nautical because it's so cool. But it's all from here down, all the coolness. So
isn't it also 100% wool?
It is 100% wool.
So we'd better.
But the top part is just navy.
Yep.
And then the skirt has anchors and stuff all over it, but you can't see it.
Got to turn the camera to a fashion show. We need to do that in
Hi Joe.
February when it's 10 below and we can crack the door and get some air in here. And that would actually be a good idea. Hey Joe. Joe, you missed the whiskey sour, but I name checked you because I know it was your mom and dad's favorite. And it wasn't the whiskey sour, in fact was the Commodore cocktail, wasn't it? Or was it the Admiral? It was the Commodore. Yes.
You made the Commodore.
The Commodore cocktail.
Not a lot of complicated mixing going on board fancy units. Yeah.
I look at a yacht bar, or particularly a touring boat bar. We've seen a few of those in our time. They tend to be loaded with bottles. And what can they make?
Oh my gosh.
They can make a bunch of highballs.
Okay, good. We got some votes for swizzles. I think it might be time to think about new swizzle sticks.
We're running very low on them. It's going to take a bit of capital to get those going, but they're absolutely
Thank you for the idea,
doing.
Aaron.
Thank you.
There seems to be a lot of support for it.
They are made by one of the premier companies, that's Royer. And I had heard that at the time we had ours made, that our contact said that was her favorite swizzle that they'd ever made. So it's pretty cool.
It says, also great for hot cruises on Lake George.
You don't say. I believe I was wearing
Ask me how I know.
Very jacket on said cruise and a bunch of makeup. And wow, did you just want to be out on deck and catch the non-existent breeze. Wow, that was heavy. And then there was dancing. And then there was, I tell you, something else.
Oh my gosh.
We'll take Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island too. I think that song is under copyright, so I'll stop singing. There we go.
I just feel like making something else.
It's up to you,
That's all, but I want to do that.
Well, this is gone.
That's gone.
And that was a nip, so that's not...
That didn't last anything today. Hello, Julie. Oh, and Janice, hello.
Hello,
hello. Oh. Yep. You are correct, Janice. How can we help fundraise with help funding with the creative swizzle impulse? Oh, Satellite, you're so sweet. Thank you. I would pay silly money for one of the first swizzles. Well, Celine, I think we could probably hook you up. Message us.
Could happen.
Message us.
For less than funny money.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I want to make. I collect swizzles too. I love a swizzle.
Sorry about that, folks. It was getting crowded over there.
Yeah.
And you're still mixing, so we need to make some room. I got to think about things, but definitely.
I'm thinking about things. You keep this going. I'll be back.
I will go. Oh yeah, did you comment on John's comment here? It's one of my favorite bits from the Pythons.
Oh yeah.
Roger Luxury Yacht, but it's pronounced Throat Warbler Mangrove. Yes, I think that was one of Bill's favorites, if he's still watching. Fantastic thing. That always makes me think of what was it? The spy who was actually cut down and stuffed into the body of a Cocker Spaniel. And he's just sitting there talking about all these things, and he just has to go walkies. It's nutty, nutty stuff. Big fun. They did a little fun with the yachts, too.
I got this.
Oh, yes, definitely. So, just checking out what's going on over here, but definitely and absolutely, folk.
Aboard for swizzles. Thank you.
Piping aboard.
Yeah, okay.
But definitely. Oh, what do you got there?
Oh, your shoebox full of swizzles is sadly gone.
Oh.
Aww.
Oh. Check your local thrift stores. Well, thrift stores are not the best. You want to check the antique places.
Pardon me.
Particularly those indoor antique malls where they have the booths and there's nobody manning them, and there's just stuff, because the people who stock those stalls will collate things, and they'll find swizzles here, swizzles there, and put together a bunch and say swizzles $10. So you can start recreating your collection that way.
Swizzles everywhere.
Because there's a lot of swizzles that are like, some golf club, some yacht club, so this restaurant. We see a lot from Anthony's Pier 39, I think it was. Or is it 54?
Marty, are you still here?
Pier 12? Anyway.
Pier 9 or Pier 19. I think it was in Newburgh. That's why we see a lot of them.
We've got a glass from Anthony's.
Yes, we do. We do.
And it just, I think it was like an Italian restaurant, probably kind of a place where you could get like a really great plate of like, linguine with clam sauce, that kind of stuff. Sounds good. Wow, I'm hungry. And the kind of place that actually did serve drinks in a double old fashioned, so you could probably get a nice tall one there. Probably a whiskey sour type thing. Not unfortunate.
I'm just looking for a good name for this drink.
Spreader. Drive shaft.
Blow me down.
Blow me down. Seacock.
I think I'm going to call
cockpit.
it Blow Me Down.
Well, blow me olive. And if you make a martini thing, you can blow me olive. So.
We were watching a bunch of Popeye before our last brunch happy hour.
That's right. They're pretty fun. Pretty killer.
Oh, the bus.
That's my recommendation about swizzles. Because a lot of them are not some kind of crazy rare thing. And you usually find one or two Playboy Club.
Oh, swizzles. Rachel, I hope so.
White and black.
Oh, the plantation pineapple. Okay, well, we're going to make the blow me down. It's just fun to say blow me down.
Oh, blow the man down, boys. Blow the man down. Yo,
it also makes me think of the burning bush in Three Amigos.
Oh, yes. Isn't he singing something similar?
Ho, ho, blow the man down.
You've got there what looks like about a shot.
Yep. 1.5 ounces. And now, oh my gosh.
Let's make it happen. Good grief.
Another thing we need to replace.
Well, luckily,
we need a trip to Mid-Valley.
Luckily, our local has a large selection of the plantation line.
I guess that's true.
At good prices. I think that your plantation dark that's your basic Mai Tai rum right there, and that's something like $20 a bottle. So you could make a lot of good drinks with that, and not go broke. So that's a fun thing. But the fancy pineapple, I think it's one of 2 pineapple rums that are on the market right now. There may be more. I know of 2. And this one is very particularly good. Well done. They infuse pineapples. That's how they do it.
So I'm going to do, I'll do the lime first. Oh boy, we're low on lime.
Lime. I just used an ounce, so.
Doing a 1/2 ounce of fresh lime juice. And I'm going to do a bunch of Angostura bitters.
A lot of?
10 dashes of Angostura bitters.
Vigorous with that dash.
I know.
This computer gets a little stickum from time to time.
Oh my god.
10D of the Ang.
You should have seen this computer the day after you dropped the drink on it.
Oh man. Don't speak.
That was no joke.
I hate such things. I really, really do.
Oh, the ice moved.
Yes, it did. But it was an accident. I know. Whatever. But you don't want your computer to get all, cocktailed up. You can get cocktailed up. You can still operate your computer. But still, folks.
If you're going to drop a drink, try not to drop it on your computer, would be my advice.
Oh, yes, the acronyms here, the OFTD. I know that there's 2 ways that people actually break out that acronym. There is an official way, and then there's what everybody says.
Oh, Josh, fog cutter. We love a fog cutter.
Fog cutter. There's a very nautical style drink.
Grab me
that just makes me think they would have that in an Italian joint in San Francisco.
Champagne flute, please.
A flute. Okay.
Yes.
I'm coming right
away.
We'll be
fluting. Thank you.
I'm fluting.
It's like, are you being served?
Yes.
I'm fluting.
I'm done.
All right. Hopefully, this won't be... Oh, you know what? I might have to make 2.
Well, that's a shame. You got some extra there.
I do. You want to grab another flute?
I'll bring up another flute.
Okay.
Probably need a little something for after the show. I'm still working happily on this sling. I recommend doing it the way I did it. There are other good ways to do it. I recommend something more complex.
All right, well, you get less than I get.
More complex than the gin and cherry stuff. A lot of places, that's pretty much all that's in it. And you definitely want the Benedictine. It's not the same without it.
You get less than I get.
I got the smaller one.
I'm going to top with a dry cider.
I still have this business over
This
there.
is Orchard Hill Bone Dry Draft Estate New York apples.
From our local cider mill.
Our local farm.
Which is actually
very
growing,
close to American fruits.
Very close to American fruits. And they sell American fruits in their speakeasy.
They do. They have a speakeasy. I love a farm store with a speakeasy.
With a speakeasy. Oh, thank you very much.
That's my kind of farm store.
My kind of farm store. Excellent selection of local New York liquors, etc. They mix up great little drinks there. Yes. They sell bitters there. And the farm store itself, you can get cider donuts, of course. You can get cider, of course. It's unpasteurized, so you can let it rip, and fun things happen there. And
David, that's awesome.
And they make the dry cider. And they just apparently, we were there late last year, I guess, and they were noted. Somebody recognized us and said that they've been planting a bunch of cider apples, very specifically cider apples. And I thought, oh, I'm really perking up at that, because that's a lost tradition in the States. But cider was really the thing back in the day. And I'm not talking, apple juice. I'm talking hard cider. So that's lovely. I would drink that any day of the week.
I'm a fan of that.
That's just a great thing. It's the dry cider makes it. It is not sweet. It's got a bit of a tang. This is such a high quality product. It's just right up there with like a Prosecco.
Yep.
Very happy with that. And the cans are very convenient. So
we need to go get more.
We got to go get more because that was the last one. Bang. But a topper of that on almost anything would do well. You could top your sling with it. It would be okay. But the sling is topped with bubbles.
Blow me down.
With the seltzer. You could sub with this and that would be okay.
Because I'm apparently 12 years old.
Well, blow me, Olive. No.
What is going on here?
What is up with that?
So weird. Anyway.
I don't know. Positioning. Vectors. Vectors.
I don't want to talk about the vectors.
What's a vector, Victor?
The Clarence. Rusty nails sink ships, but they taste great. Oh, good night, Mars. Thank you for joining us.
Much appreciated. Now, if what you're trying to do is clean your wood, the recommendation is don't use steel wool. It will clean your wood well, but it will leave splinters, metal splinters, which will rust. So instead, use a product called bronze wool, and that does not corrode. Bronze wool.
What's that?
That is a steel wool that's not made of steel. It's made of bronze. That's it. I have some bronze wool because I use it in the workshop. Actually, the electronics workshop. It's for the soldering iron.
All right, just keep talking amongst yourself.
Yes,
we will keep talking amongst yourself.
I will talk to myself over here. So anyway, this is a very fine drink. I haven't had that much. And the fact is we've actually had a number of great things tonight. Some things that were classics, not that well known. Commodore and Admiral. A variation on that called the Rear Admiral. We're still working on the Vice Admiral. And then again, there's the Admiral Nelson. We got to keep working on such things. Major Nelson. I'm thinking of a different Nelson, as a matter of fact. And then you actually came up with a great little original here with the cider, which is always recommendable. And we've been working with the American fruits, which we adore. So I'm not going to say buy that at any cost. It could be quite expensive if you're trying to ship it across the country. But if you have a chance to get it for a rational price, it's highly recommended. It's a really good product. Again, if you can't find that, try to find your local cordial. Try to find some of the Eastern European product, usually available at a very good price. That's a very good sub. And if you want to go for a flavor variation, again, the maraschino, the Luxardo is an excellent product. There's also a product called Marasca, which comes from, I believe, Croatia. That's an excellent product. And really, it's like this one's made in Italy, this one's made in Croatia. This is across a body of water. They both do it very, very well. And I thought that we found the Marasca for a slightly better price than the Luxardo. Although I think the Luxardo is a really good standard. Something I haven't seen in ages, and I have no idea. It was the stock maraschino.
Dano, hello!
First one we ever had.
Dano just killed another cherry cordial.
Boom!
We just bought a new one today.
Blow the man down. off it went. That's
Wait,
all
which one's good with Pisco? I'm sorry, I lost the thread of the conversation here. Josh, which one's good with Pisco? Now I want to know. We have Pisco.
Oh, are we thinking about the Stiggins?
Oh!
Perhaps.
Okay.
Or a cherry cordial, perhaps. I am missing that.
Cherry cordial would be, yeah.
It'd be interesting.
We
happen to have Pisco. And we were just looking at drinks earlier this evening which feature cachaça. And it turns out we do have cachaça, so we could do such things. So.
Okay. Sorry, just.
Please, take care of business as done.
I was going to say, it sound like, no. Just taking care of a little bit of business. Christmas vacation.
Christmas vacation.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the police chief.
Yeah, just taking care of a little bit of business here.
Yep. Okay, folks, do you mind stepping aside?
Ooh, I love all the local drinks.
Local liquors, like your local distillery. It used to be if I said that, you'd say, you mean like my uncle's little bootleg operation out back there? But today, you've got a legit operation in 50 states. People are making booze. And they always start out by selling vodka because they can do that very quickly. And they need to make some money very quickly because they've invested a ton in this thing. And then they make a gin because it's very, very simple to infuse. It takes very little time. And then they start out on the whiskeys. And they need to be aged for a while. Probably 6 months. Probably more like 2 years. So you need to lay that in. And rye, same deal. Different mash. Right. Different mash bill.
Catching up.
But you have to age it.
I just love it. Errol had a friend that not only talked to himself, but answered his own questions with a voice inflection as if he were surprised at the answer. So
many people, so many different aspects of the spectrum. Is Joe still here?
Night, John.
Hey! Piping ashore. Mr. McDonough. So boom.
Oh, in place of the brandy. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So fog cutter in place of that kind of thing. Well, yeah, and you know, Fog Cutter, Trader Vic drink, he was a big proponent, way before anybody really cared about such things, of Pisco. Back when people thought it was just this weird Chilean or Peruvian liquor, it is both.
Chilean or Peruvian.
It is, in fact, they both claim to have invented it, and I think, does anybody really care? You both make good Pisco.
You just made me think of Rosemary's Baby, when she's talking to her baby, her unborn baby, and she's like, little Andy or Jenny.
She doesn't know.
Chilean or Peruvian. Little Andy or Jenny.
And then at the end of the picture where they're all talking to her and she's saying, I can't hear you. Like you're in the city in Yugoslavia. I forget the city. I can't hear you. You're there. That's pretty brilliant.
Yep.
It's a great scene.
Oh, Joe is here.
Hey, Joe is here. Yes. Yeah, like I said, so many people.
Little Andy or Jenny.
So many different aspects of the spectrum, I tell you. But I like a fog cutter. And subbing that, most. You're subbing a brandy for grape brandy. Actually, Pisco is grape brandy. So it's one grape brandy for another. And I would say that would just add a different flavor note. That is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, I really like this the way I made this. Normally, I use the maraschino. I'm getting different flavor notes. And it plays pretty well with the Benedictine. And I like the flavor notes that are in the maraschino a lot. Some people don't like maraschino. I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Couple of good classics out there that use that. This thing, normally, people will say you've got to use cherry heering. Cherry heering is very dark, very sweet. It's a different style of product. It's closer to what I used. I happen to really like the American fruits in this drink.
Aviation is very...
aviation.
Maraschino forward.
Yes. And that's a classic that probably completely disappeared. Although, good question. Is it in this book?
I don't know.
I was just name-checking the Trilby in here, which is... It's in Manhattan. But aviation should be.
Trilby.
And that's considered just a very old school and very classic kind of cocktail. And you look at it, it's like, it's just in Manhattan. Yeah. No aviation. Really. Wow. Interesting what is in here. They do have a fairly reputable Mai Tai. And that's probably one of the first books that you will see that appear in. But at the time, nobody knew what was in a Trader Vic Mai Tai. So they had to kind of fake it. They faked it pretty well. The contemporary book nails it shut. Otherwise, this will contain a fog cutter and a zombie, I bet, are in here. Let's see. It's interesting to see what's in the book and what's not. A lot of books in the 50s don't have things.
In that book.
Foghorn. No fog cutter.
No. I wrote down the foghorn for possible use this evening, but
I see the flag. Yep.
It's not a super interesting drink. It just seemed like it had a nautical bent to it.
The French 75 in quotes, is one of our favorites ever.
Josh, you are absolutely right. Josh says, I love the Luxardo, but it tends to be a diva-type liqueur. It can easily take over the drink. You're correct.
I say it's an awful lot like using the Baronel.
Aviation's Aaron. I know I love an aviation.
A lot of aviation formulas are just the 3 ingredients and no violette. I think the violette is what makes it an aviation. Because you've got that little blue, and you have to slip it in so you get a little blue layer at the bottom of your drink. It's almost like that little demarcation between like an ionosphere and troposphere or something, you know? You just see like the line there in the sky. It's
very pretty.
Very pretty. It's a special effects drink. This will have a zombie, and I don't think it's exactly what Don did because nobody knew at the time what Don did.
I'm interested to hear what this zombie would say.
That's a fairly reputable zombie, as a matter of fact.
Good night, Peter.
Hey, good night.
Peter, we got to make a wine drink for you soon.
We'll figure that out. Glennie tends to get busy from time to time, and she decides that
maybe Velveteen, Glendora needs to make a wine drink for Peter.
Maybe Miss Velveteen is just making too many cocktails, and Glennie gets a little envious, so she decides to do a few. You know how it is.
I think Glendora could do a wine drink for Peter.
I think that could be done. Oh yeah, big fun. But we were talking seafaring vessels, not air-going vessels. That's
air-going.
That very
sea-going, air-going.
Very poor way of putting that. Yeah, not air flight. Although I did actually name check the Zeppelins because I got one in my pocket right here. Speaking of disasters,
is that a Zeppelin in your pocket? Is that a Zeppelin in your pocket?
No, I'm just happy to see you.
Oh. Okay.
So there we go. Boom. Actually, both.
Dano says, we figured out a theme-compatible drink. We're busting out the ocean cast.
Bang!
Ew.
Oh, boy. Is that Jefferson rum that goes in the liner for like 2 years and gains character?
Oh, my gosh.
Big fun. I like it. That's the way to go. We're still talking shipwrecks and all various types of wrecks. You have heard many of them this evening. There are
various types of wrecks.
There's so many more. If you're a fan of such things, well, that sounds macabre. Maybe you're just like fascinated by such things. A lot of good documentaries. Look up something called the Collins Line. That was one of the first of the transatlantic lines with steamships, and they were way ahead of their time, and they were way behind the times in terms of safety, and they had some disasters.
Yeah.
1840s. So pretty early for steamship travel, certainly reliable steamship travel. They put the emphasis on luxury. They sounded amazing, and it tanked.
Bourbon. Okay.
Bourbon. Now we're talking.
Ooh, Josh says, I really love a mezcal zombie.
Mezcal zombie. Mm. We have to have a very good mezcal over there.
We do.
So such things could be happening.
That sounds good.
A classic zombie is a rum drink that involves about 3 different types of rum. Perhaps that would involve 3 different types of mezcal. Wow.
That's a lot of mezcal, though.
That's a lot of mezcal.
I love mezcal, don't get me wrong.
That's a lot of mezcal.
Wow, that would be a lot of mezcal.
From the land that gives you the Day of the Dead, you're thinking that they could definitely come up with a mezcal zombie that would really sock it to you. My eyes just lit up on that one.
Wow.
That sounds like fun.
That does sound like fun.
I remember getting a really great mezcal drink up in Kingston, New York, at a place called the Stockade.
Oh, the Stockade.
I will sing their praises and hope that they're managing this business well. If you just cool it long enough and have good insurance, and your insurance actually pays, then you may be able to weather these things well. So,
I'm looking them up because
they seem to have hours. Indoors and outdoor patio, Thursday through Saturday. Cocktails and nibbles. They have good nibbles. Pickled things. Yep. Now let me check and see if they've got... Oh, then they do to-go drinks because, hey, everybody's been doing that. Manhattan to go, margarita to go. Big fun.
Oh my gosh, I'm happy to see that a place I like is still open.
Bees needs to go. Oh, Vous Carré to go. That's become one of my favorites lately.
I love a Vous Carré.
I haven't liked a Vous Carré.
I'm making those a lot lately.
That is something that is not in this book.
There's never too much mezcal. I love mezcal. We went to Tales of the Cocktail mezcal year. I was so happy.
And we actually did participate in mezcal night at a Mexican restaurant where the food
was
excellent and huge. really huge portions, and it was a flight of mezcal. I cannot say that I could really tell the nuances between them, but they were all really high quality. They were all really, really good liquor. And that night got a little foggy. Yes, it did. There's some entertaining stories which I won't tell here, but suffice to say, made it back in one piece, and there's no damage. It was it's a lot of mezcal.
I just remember when we were I remember everything about it, but it was our only time in New Orleans. That was the first time we went, and we haven't been back since. Which I would love to go back.
Let's redress that, shall we?
Yeah, I would absolutely love to go back.
It's a pretty fun town.
But I remember that night. Well, we went to a dinner that had different courses and everything. They had like different mezcal tastings with every course.
Every course. So you basically got 4 shots of mezcal. Actually, probably 4 2-ounce servings.
Yeah. Oh, the Mai Kai.
Oh.
Piece to my heart, the Mai Kai.
Mai Kai has a lot of promise. But on the other hand, we've got the Northeast equivalent. The Kowloon apparently is throwing in the towel. I don't have a towel to throw anymore. Oh, wait, I do.
I mean, I don't think they have a closing date.
Wing. But I just got to say, that's just such an awesome place. Itself also pretty huge that I think, doesn't some budding restaurateur out there want to find some funds and take over the Kowloon, because it's so cool. And they do something like 4 kinds of cuisine. They have 3 or 4 different bars in there. The comedy club, the sports bar. It's such a viable operation. I know right now it's very difficult.
No, I know
to make everything happen properly, but
the family doesn't want to keep it, I guess. But
they've done it for 61 years. Am I right? Something like that. That's a long time. I got it. It's an institution up there in Saugus, Route 1, among all sorts of fantastic gooey architecture, a lot of which is gone by the wayside. Take the hat off. But man, I want to see that place.
Yeah, I was just going to say about not Kowloon. What were we talking about before that?
We rambled a bit.
I completely lost my train of thought.
Shipwrecks. Mezcal. New Orleans.
I lost it. New Orleans. Yeah. I just remember after that dinner at that restaurant, which was delicious, and then tastings where it was wonderful. But by the end of this, like, they're giving you prepay, and they're giving you so much booze throughout all of this. And we've been drinking all day because Tales of the Cocktail.
Tales of the Cocktail. It's what you do. You're a professional.
I just remember the Uber going back to where we were staying, and the driver had no idea where he was going. And I just recognized Port of Call, which we'd had lunch at like the day before. And I'm like, wait, stop. Because he was just driving us way out of the way of where we were staying. So anyway, it was just by seeing that restaurant that we got out of that car and managed to stumble back.
Stagger,
it was a lot of fun. I know it sounds sad and pathetic, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I can admit when it's been a heavy night.
We did know enough to Uber.
Yeah.
I was saying.
We weren't driving anywhere.
Oh, okay. Brooklyn is asking, have you been to any bars out here in Los Angeles? Okay, we've been to Tonga Hut.
Of course.
And Tiki Tea.
Of course. We were at Trader Vic's Los Angeles when that was
when
a
it was
thing.
still open. Yeah,
that was good.
That was still open.
Fun. It was a good place.
It was really fun. Oh, yeah. We've been to the Dresden.
Dresden was a really, really good experience. It's a restaurant. However, I did have a good Negroni there, and actually, it helped me out. I was really
the Dresden was so much fun because we went when Marty and Elaine were performing.
They're hilarious.
And
they're just great.
We've been to. It was in my brain and then went right back out of my brain.
We have not been
Damon's, which is in Glendale.
Yes,
it's not L.A.
No.
But those
are
really our L.A. bars that we've been to.
Really need to get back when these things are possible and hit Musso and Frank's, because there's your classic like red banquette style joint. Good place to get
Elizabeth, we've got to get back to Las Vegas.
Yeah,
we talk about that frequently. It's been
2014.
14, yeah.
There you go.
7 years since we've been to Las Vegas. Yeah, but I know a lot's changed.
And I think the prior time we were in Las Vegas was 2007. I'm getting a theme here.
Yeah, no, we gotta get back.
I guess this year's the year.
Wind and Sea in Dana Point. I already know from the name I would love it.
Now we're talking. I just think of
sounds like a drink.
There's a place that Steve took us to in San Francisco when we were out there in 2003.
Oh, the Anchor.
It's like a seafood joint, and that was just great. I love a joint like that. Really, very reminiscent of places that I saw when I was a kid.
Yes, the Anchor.
I didn't appreciate them when I was a kid, but now I think, it's very nostalgic.
The Luxor has a Titanic exhibit. Musso and Frank's.
Yes.
I was at Musso and Frank's, bless you, a million years ago, before I ever even moved to New York. My boyfriend took me to Musso and Frank's one night. Yeah, I do love that. I love it. I wanted to get back there with Paul, but we didn't.
We have a lot on that schedule.
I know.
It was enough to get to the Dresden, and at that point, I'd had such large meals. When you travel, you eat too much, and it was starting to get to me. So I get there, I'm like, I think I ordered an Americano. It wasn't actually.
Oh no, you're talking about the Dresden.
I'm talking about the Dresden.
Yeah.
I like an Americano, and the fact is, the Campari helped. It was very digestive. So then I was able to manage the meal, and of course, we were set right next to the stage there. And there's Marty, and he sees my hat, and he's just like, hey, where you from anyway? So he starts chatting me up, and we're coming in from New York. Oh, we're from New York. Bang. And I was like the guy.
You were like best friends.
I was like the guy all evening. And then they're selling stuff, and I'm like, we'd like to buy the record, and they autograph it. They were so much fun. Really just a great show. I hope they're still doing what they do. I know it's tough these days. But
I know. But, things are coming back up.
Champagne and Stout. Oh, yeah. Champagne and Stout being the Black Velvet is always recommendable. I believe that among the Titanic wreckage, you could find bottles of Bass and bottles of champagne. Bottles of champagne where the cork had been pushed in from the pressure of being on the ocean floor. It's like it's a mile down, So it's a disaster that actually was basically a lot more attention has been paid to that just because of the whole nature of the thing. The luxury of the ship, the era, the everything. And of course, there were some fantastic boners being pulled on that one, absolutely. Not to make any more bad puns. But when you compare it to things like the Morrow, it's like the Titanic did half a dozen things right. It's crazy to run that kind of comparison.
I just don't think you should call your ship unsinkable.
It's
just like inviting disaster. Don't do that.
A little bit of hubris happening.
Don't do that.
Just tell you.
Just say it probably won't sink. You're probably good.
Say that it's got a lot of safety. Tout the safety features. Your wireless. That was a pretty good idea.
Yep.
Very new technology at the time. They did have it installed, and those rules hadn't been nailed shut because of that disaster. Suddenly, emergency chatter supersedes all on the sea. So that's a good trend.
Just don't call your ship unsinkable. That just seems like a terrible idea.
Everything is sinkable.
Everything is sinkable.
Everything can fall apart. Everything falls apart. So I don't like to speak in absolutes about things. Even if I definitely know how to do the thing. This is the way it's done. Somebody else will do it slightly differently, and it might be good. Okay. We're good with that.
Great.
We know how to make all of these drinks by the book, and sometimes we mix it up. So that's a very important thing.
We could definitely do a list of the places we've been. That's a great idea, actually, Brooklyn. Thank you. I love that idea.
Thank you. I would not have thought of that, but it's fantastic.
I love that idea. We will put together a list.
Okay. Sure.
LA, New York. I mean,
places will open up again. They already are. I think it's a little premature. We all know. Not all of us have been hit with the needle yet, and we're getting there.
We've had our first shot. We haven't had our second.
No.
But
some people have had the one shot that they need.
Knock on wood.
Knock on the old.
Knock on wood.
Wooden head.
But yeah.
But we're getting there. And I would say that there are many things you can do that are close to that experience without being in a huge crowd of people right now. It's always possible. So
you can definitely order. I mean, you can do pickup. I don't know where you live, but I know a lot of places are having pickup drinks, like the Mai Kai.
Yes.
For example.
Mocktails.
Yeah. But I'm also thinking you can order food. It's not cheap. But like we
Everything
ordered
costs.
some fancy food on Goldbelly. That was really fun. It wasn't like being in the restaurant, but it was darn similar.
It was the
So,
actual
yeah.
cut of meat, and they gave you the instructions, and I followed them, and it was just amazingly good. It was
Idiot proof.
very, very
Idiots evolve quicker than tech.
Too true. Too true.
Any trip to ShopRite will tell you that that's true. Oh, I know. I am too, Celine.
I know.
We have a trip planned in June, and actually, we have a trip planned in May and a trip planned in June, and I will go strangle someone for my second shot at this point. I will.
Don't kill anybody. That's already
I
happening.
will cut someone for my second shot. Hopefully, I don't have to do that.
How could you? Oh, thank you, Rusty.
Oh, thank you, Rusty.
Yep.
Aw.
Well, we raise our glass to you
Yes.
and to everyone else who has joined us here tonight for some fantastic cocktails. And some that I left by the wayside because I don't recommend them, so you're not going to see them tomorrow. If you're
I deleted one from the list because it was
meh.
yeah.
And we didn't do one of them that we planned on. It didn't sound so great anyway. But if you're a patron, you will see all of these cocktails tomorrow. And of course, if you're a patron, you will also get an original drink every month. Or sometimes a classic, it depends. And there's also a mocktail for people who decide, I want to like moderate that a bit. And there are other levels where other sorts of fun things happen. Check it out on patreon.com if you haven't. If you're already supporting us,
Hi, Ben.
thank you very much.
Hello, Ben. We're
Hi,
like
Ben.
logging off, but I got to say hi to
I'm
Ben.
going to say hi to Ben.
I know.
That's because we love Ben.
Oh, Brooklyn lives in Valencia. Okay, I know where that is.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
But definitely. And we've been talking about all sorts of fantastic disasters, including some airborne disasters and some seafaring disasters. This is all about seafaring disasters, of course. Some on the Great Sea, some on the high seas, and some on the Great Lakes. Some disasters happen in that stream over there. I don't know. Some people just can't sail, I guess.
Don't jinx yourself. Don't call your ship unsinkable.
Don't call it unsinkable.
Don't do it.
Just say, how about emphasizing your safety procedures? Just saying,
Don't
drills. Lifeboat drills.
avoid saboteurs. I feel
That's a
like
good
my
idea.
tips for avoiding shipwrecks are sort of tips for life too. Avoid saboteurs.
Avoid saboteurs.
Don't hire the crazy. Don't hire arsonists to crew on your ship.
To crew on your ship.
Don't paint your ship without taking the lifeboats off, so that when you need to deploy the lifeboats, they're painted.
They're not glued in.
And yeah, you don't want to do that.
This is all Morrow Castle. Every one of these things was part of the disaster. And you think, what the hell is wrong with you people? Yes. Bad news. Bad news.
Yep. Oh, I know. Schedule some rest time. Our second shot is supposed to be next Wednesday-ish. So I don't know what day it's going to be because they don't tell you yet. Like, we're going to find out next week when our shot is. But hopefully we're not all fluey next week.
If it happens, that would be the least of your troubles. Symptoms.
Yeah.
It would pass.
Hopefully we won't be all
And
fluey.
at that point in time, I would definitely recommend a bourbon stone sour.
Hi, Jeff.
And I'd feel good.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey!
Aww.
We'll see you earlier, indeed, right?
It's so good to see
But
you.
definitely, yes. Please, so nice of you to tune in.
So, Shipwreck on the Rocks. Oh,
all right.
Elizabeth. This
Well,
is
folks,
sweet.
this has been fantastic.
This has been great.
I don't know why we enjoy talking about fantastic disasters so much, but it's because they're fascinating. They're not fun. They're terrible. They're terrible.
It's just
but they're fascinating.
crazy.
And the things that happen. And we can bring this sort of thing to you. There was a playlist on here. If you haven't heard it, go up around the list. Check it out up on Spotify.
Spotify.
If you have a question about anything specific that we have done tonight, just drop us a
Let us
line.
know.
Some of you already have done so. If you have any ideas that you'd like us to explore, well, we need 52 of them a year, so let it rip. As always, it's been fantastic to see you.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact,
thank you for joining us.
we
We love you.